Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to day 3 of fractions. Today we're going to be learning about fraction sets. So today's learning targets are: I can use pictures to find equivalent fractions. Remember, equivalent means equal. We learned about that yesterday. And the second learning target is I can make fraction numbers from sets. So you will need a whiteboard and dry erase marker or paper pencil. All right, so first let's review a little bit about our equivalent fractions from yesterday. Here we have two pictures. One is shaded, and our job is to shade the other model to be an equivalent fraction to the first one. So if I'm looking at this first one, I'm going to go ahead and count how many sections there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that is my denominator, the bottom number. This is how many make up the whole. 12 slices of this pizza would make a whole. Now, how many are shaded? Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That must mean I have 8 out of the 12 pieces. Now, looking over here at this one, my job is to shade it so it matches, and I'm looking already. I'm kind of noticing that this almost looks like one of those sections over here. So I'm going to take my highlighter here, and I'm going to go ahead and shade in 2 of those sections, since that one white section on the left looks very similar to this one whole white one here. Now, looking at that, it looks pretty equivalent to me. It looks equal. So I'm going to go ahead and name this fraction. There are 3 total sections, and 2 of them are shaded. So that would mean that 8/12 is equal to 2/3. And one thing I'm noticing is that 12 is a multiple of 3, as we learned yesterday. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to find out my denominator first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Wow, that's a lot of pieces. So we have 14 pieces to make up the whole. And the ones that are shaded are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 out of 14 pieces are shaded. Now I'm looking over at this one, and I'm thinking, okay, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total pieces. And I'm noticing once again that 14 is a multiple of 7. So I'm going to take my highlighter here and shade what I think looks like it would be about the same. Definitely more than 1 piece. Definitely more than 2. 3 is getting close, but not quite there. I think that 4 looks very similar to me as that 8 pieces over there. So if I write down that 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces out of 7 is equivalent to 8 out of 14. Those are equivalent fractions. And I'm hoping you're noticing something here too. Also, multiples. All right, let's try another one. So I'm going to shade this first one, showing that it is 3/6. I'm going to use a different color this time. So 6 is my denominator. That means there are 6 total pieces, and I need to shade 3 of them. So there's my 3 pieces out of 6 that are shaded. And to show that on this one, I'm going to go ahead and color in this. That looks like a half to me. And 3 out of 6 is a half. So I think, actually I know, that I shaded 1 out of 2 equal pieces. So 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2. All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do one more. And I'm going to shade 5 out of the 7 pieces of this one. So 5 out of 7 are shaded. Move that up a little bit. And now I'm looking at the second one. I need to make this one an equivalent fraction. Whoops. So I need to first count what my denominator is. How many total pieces make the whole? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. Now that is double the amount of 7. So pretty much each one of these pieces over here was cut in half to double it over here. And so I'm going to tell you my thinking here. I'm going to predict that this should be about 10. If this is double, this should probably be double as well, but I better check with my coloring to make sure that matches. So, and you notice I do the dots. Just when there's so many pieces, it's easy to lose track of where you are. So I like to count with the dots. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can leave these 2 here. I think will be these 4 here. So I'm going to carefully shade. Oh, shoot, I missed it. Going to shade this side. I'm not sure I can erase that little bit. A little bit. Okay. So I am noticing that this piece here, I am really bad at drawing today. All right, let me start that over. I am noticing that this piece right here looks to be about the same size as this piece here. And it is. If I could draw better, it would match. And so that means that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shaded pieces. My prediction was right. If I just doubled each of them, that would make 14 pieces instead of 7. That means that double 5 would be 10. So my equivalent fraction to 5/7 would be 10/14. All right, so here we have a ruler. This looks very similar to a number line. And we have this marks 0. Does it say that? Nope, it marks 0. We have 1, we have 2, and we have 3 inches. So we need to think about where about 1/2 of an inch would be. Now remember, half is the same thing as this fraction 1/2. If you guessed that 1/2 was right where this red arrow is pointing, you are correct. That is exactly 1, 2 jumps to the 1 inch. So this 1 right here would be 1/2. How many 1/4 inches would be the same length? We talked about quarters just a little bit ago, a couple lessons ago. And remember, a quarter, I like to think of coins. Well, 1/4 is 1/4 of $1 because it takes 4 quarters to make $1. So 1/4 is the same thing as 1/4. Well, where would 1/4 be on this ruler? So it would have to be 4 sections or 4 jumps. So I'm looking and I'm thinking it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of those would be 1/4 of a jump. So this one here must be 1/4. All right, let's look at fractions of a set. So here we have a group of animals. We have bees, pigs, monkeys, and rabbits. So our job is to figure out what fraction of the animals are pigs. Now remember, our numerator is how many we have, and the denominator, the bottom number, is out of the total amount. So here we have a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 animals. So I know that the whole set has 8 animals. That's going to be my denominator. Now the question is asking what fraction of the animals are pigs? So I need to count how many pigs there are out of the total 8. So I count 1, 2, 3 pigs. That means that 3/8 of the animals are pigs. I'm going to change my color here. How about for bees? I'll make it yellow for a bee. What fraction of the animals are bees? Well, our whole, or the total amount of animals, is still 8. I'm going to write that over here. That's still 8. So what fraction out of that 8 are bees? Well, there are 2 bees out of the total 8. So that fraction would be 2/8. All right, let's try another set. Here we have a set of shapes, and our job is to find out what fraction of the shapes are hearts and what fraction of the shapes are stars. For both of these answers, we're going to have the same denominator, the same bottom number. That's how many total shapes there are. So I better figure that out first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So for both of these, my denominator or bottom number is going to be 12. That's the whole. The whole amount of shapes is 12. Well, what fraction of the shapes are hearts? So I'm going to change to red for hearts. And I count 1, 2, 3 hearts. That would mean that 3 out of 12 are hearts. So 3/12 of the shapes are hearts. Okay, so our next one, excuse my scribbles there. The next one is what fraction of the shapes are stars? Now, I don't want to get fooled here. I'm going to look and see how many stars we have. We have 1, make my dot bigger, 2, 3, 4, and I almost missed this one because it's yellow, but we have 5 stars, 5 total stars. And so that means that my fraction of shapes that are stars would be 5, and that's out of a total of 12 shapes. Now, this last question asks what fraction of the stars are orange? So I'm looking up. My denominator is going to change because I want you to notice that it says what fraction of the stars are orange, not what fraction of the shapes. It's what fraction of the stars. So I need to first find out how many total stars I have, which I did up here with my last fraction, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stars. So that's going to be my denominator, the bottom number. That's my whole. So it's going to be 5 as my denominator. I better move some of these to get them out of my way here. My denominator is going to be 5. And how many are orange out of those 5 stars? Well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means that 4/5 of the stars are orange. All right, so now we have 6 marbles here, or 6 circles, and our job is to find out what is half of the 6 marbles. Now, some of you might already be saying, I think I know that because I know what half of 6 is. But we need to be thinking of this in terms of fractions here when they get a little bit more complicated. So what I want you to think about is this is 1 out of every 2 of the sets would be shaded. So I need to find out how many marbles are half of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and think of this as one section of 2, another section of 2, and another section of 2. So if I shade in 1 of every section of 2, so that's 1 of that second section, and here is 1 out of this section of 2, and I can show that a little bit better by saying I can split it up like this. There's 2 in each group. I shaded 1 in each of those. That is 1/2 of 6. So the total marbles that I shaded is 3 marbles. So 3 marbles is 1/2 of 6. All right, let's try this with another one. Now we need to find out what 1/3 of the marbles are. So 1/3 of those 6 marbles. Now I'm going to think of this as 1 out of every 3. So I see this already where I can split it like this in 2 groups of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and shade 1 in each of those groups. So here's that first one out of that first group of 3. And here's that second one in that second group of 3. So now I've shaded 1 out of every 3. So that shows me that 2 would be the answer. 2 marbles. 1/3 of 6 marbles would be 2 marbles. Let's try it with this one. What is 1/4 of the 8 marbles? So I need to shade 1 out of every 4. And once again, I'm seeing 2 groups of 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to shade 1 of each of those. So I'm going to choose a different color this time. So there's that 1 out of that first group of 4. And there's 1 out of that second group of 4. So looking at that, I shaded 2 marbles. So 1/4 of 8 marbles would be 2 marbles. Oh my goodness, now we have 12 marbles. What is 1/4 of the 12 marbles? So once again, I'm going to split them into sections of 4 because that's my denominator. That way I can shade 1 in each group of 4. So I'm going to split it like this. So I have 1, 2, 3 groups of 4. And that does equal 12 because 3 groups of 4 is 12. So in each one, I need to shade 1 marble. So there's 1. There's 1 in this group of 4 and 1 in this group of 4. So I shaded 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, and that equals 3 marbles. 3 marbles were shaded. So 1/4 of 12 would be 3 marbles. All right, let's see. It looks like we've reached the end of our lesson. So let's go back. Let's check our learning target. In our learning target was, I can use pictures to find equivalent fractions, and we definitely did that in the beginning. And I can make fraction numbers from sets, which we did at the end with our pictures of animals and shapes and shading those circles of marbles. All right, boys and girls, good job today, and off you go to do your math.